Picture yourself standing in a forest 2 million years ago. No convenience store, no fridge, no sugar packet within 1,000 miles. Just one thing that never fully goes away: hunger. Then, through the branches, you see it. Ripe fruit. Red. Almost glowing. Your brain reacts before you even decide anything. Heart rate spikes, mouth waters, your legs are already moving. That's not desire. That's not weakness. That's a life or death decision, made in a fraction of a second. Now compare that to last night. You opened the fridge at 11 p.m., not because you were hungry, just because you wanted something sweet. The sensation? Identical. Same neural circuit, same ancient machinery, only the world around it has completely changed. So the question isn't, why am I so weak around sugar? The real question is, why is the human brain built so that it can never truly say enough when it comes to sweetness? Let's zoom out, because the answer goes back further than you think. It's not a coincidence you like sweet things. It's a design feature. Ripe fruit contains simple sugars the body can convert into energy almost instantly. Unripe fruit? Bitter, hard, sometimes toxic. For millions of years, primate brains were trained to tell the difference in a split second. Sweet meant safe, sweet meant fuel. Sweet meant you'd make it to tomorrow. Not a preference. A survival algorithm running on autopilot. Here's the uncomfortable part. That algorithm was written for a world with almost no sugar in it. Fruit was seasonal. Rare. You might go weeks without tasting anything truly sweet. So evolution did something clever. And, as we'll see, something that would eventually backfire. It made sweetness feel irresistible, not nice to have. Irresistible. Now raise the stakes. Not fruit. Honey. Among the Hadza, one of the last hunter-gatherer groups on Earth, honey can make up as much as 15% of total daily calories, a figure documented by anthropologist Frank Marlowe in his research on Hadza foraging patterns. But honey isn't free. It's guarded by thousands of stinging bees. To get it, Hadza hunters climb trees dozens of feet high, endure repeated stings, and risk a fall that could be fatal, all for a few ounces of concentrated sugar. Let that sink in. People climb toward pain, on purpose, repeatedly, for something sweet. That's not a snack habit. That's how valuable sweetness was to a body that never knew when the next meal was coming. Here's the part almost nobody talks about. There's a bird called the greater honey guide, research by ornithologist Claire Spottiswoode, published in the journal Science in 2016, showed that this bird actively leads humans to wild beehives, using a distinct call that both species have learned to understand. The human breaks open the hive. The bird gets what's left, wax and larvae it can't access alone. This isn't just some cute nature fact. This is a cross-species partnership, one that evolved because both sides were chasing the same rare, high-value resource. Not meat, not water, sugar. Think about that. An entire interspecies relationship built around craving. So where does this leave us today? In 1962, geneticist James Neal proposed what's now called the thrifty gene hypothesis, the idea that human metabolism evolved to store energy as efficiently as possible because our ancestors never knew when the next meal was coming. That programming never got updated. Your brain, right now, tonight at the fridge, is running the exact same code as someone who once walked miles through danger for a spoonful of honey. The difference is the environment. Sugar used to be rare, seasonal, guarded by bees. Now it's on every corner, in every vending machine, in the drawer of your desk. The instinct that once kept our ancestors alive is now operating inside a world it was never designed for. Not a flaw, a mismatch. Here's where the story gets physical, because your body kept receipts. Archaeological dental records show a sharp spike in tooth decay after humans transitioned to farming and began eating processed carbohydrates regularly, rates far lower in the skeletal remains of hunter-gatherers. Some studies estimate cavity rates jumped several-fold once grain-based diets became dominant, compared to pre-agricultural populations. Your teeth are a fossil record of a species that hasn't fully adjusted to its own success. We solved the problem of scarcity, and in doing so, we created a problem evolution never had to solve: abundance. This is usually where people expect a lecture about discipline, about cutting sugar out, about willpower, but that misses what's actually going on. You're not failing a moral test every time you crave something sweet. You're running software that's roughly 2 million years old in an environment that's maybe 200 years old. That's not a character flaw, that's a timing problem. Not weakness, mismatch. Understanding that doesn't give you permission to eat however you want, but it does change the question. Instead of asking, why can't I control myself? You can ask, what would it look like to work with this ancient wiring instead of constantly fighting it? That's a completely different conversation. Here's the part that reframes everything. The craving you feel isn't your brain malfunctioning. It's your brain working exactly as designed for a world that no longer exists. Every time that instinct fires, it's not a glitch. It's a message from an ancestor who once climbed toward angry bees, who once followed a bird through the forest, who once bet everything on a piece of fruit glowing red in the branches. That instinct kept an entire lineage alive long enough for you to exist. It just never got the memo that the danger is over. So next time you're standing at the fridge at 11 p.m., reaching for something sweet, that's not a failure of willpower. That's the ancient human inside you, still convinced that this might be the last sweet thing on offer before the lean season hits. He doesn't know yet. The fridge will always be full tomorrow,